and welcome to Soul Material, the podcast you cheer for. I'm your man, the OGEO.
And it's T Mark the Street Shark.
And welcome back, man. We're all about that clarity over popularity. We're going to give you some of that sneaker business talk right now. We cannot avoid it. We cannot deny it. We have to address it. The city of brotherly love just capped off a recent sneaker con with the very, very, very special guest. Wasn't an athlete, wasn't a hip hop artist. As far as I'm concerned, at least the past 30 years that I've been around, I've never known this guest to be a part of anything related to our culture whatsoever. However, we got to talk about it. So, T Mark the Street Shark, sound off, man, on the special guest at Brotherly Love's SneakerCon recently.
All right, yeah. So Sneaker Con has evolved in so many different forms. Many, if you've been a sneaker friend of ours, that we've actually met at a Sneaker Con. Like, I was going to Sneaker Con long before it was traveling, and back when it was in a basement bingo hall in Manhattan. You know what I'm saying, at the bottom of a church. So definitely qualified to speak on SneakerCon, how it's evolved, and this time. We had, not we, they had, none other than our former president, Donald Trump, show up at SneakerCon. So it was weird how it was happening because I saw some rumbling behind the scenes of heightened security and some things going on. And then when he tweeted a day or two before, like, hey, Philadelphia, can't wait to see you at SneakerCon, I was scratching my head like, it already feels like we live in a simulation, but like, what is this? So now I'm looking at like, what is his purpose? What is he here for? You're not here for sneakers. And then I was just like, wait, you are. So a bunch of non-sneaker people were contacting me, and that was some of my commentary in advance where I was just like, I bet he's about to sell a shoe. So that's why you're going to come to SneakerCon. You're either going to announce something is coming, or you're about to like sell it. And sure enough, we have the never surrender, whatever, you know what I'm saying? There's, just look online. There's so many memes, those are the January 6s, or whatever, don't play ball in those or you go catch a charge. You know what I'm saying? Like those type of things where it's just a basic shoe. You know what I'm saying? It looked like creative recreation. If any of our audience knows exactly what that brand used to look like, that's what this shoe looks like. Okay, just minus the strap on the forefoot, that looked like creative recreation. But that was an error within itself, right? And so he has a high top shoe, got the T on it, and then the little American flag. You know what I'm saying? I was just sitting there like, is this the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes? Like, what is this? It looked like a wrestling shoe. But at the end of the day, that shoe was like $400. Okay. And, they had some pairs that were made for the event, cause he was actually signing them, but this is a whole pre-order situation. All right. So if you go back to our, multiple episodes, we already talked about multiple people, who were Ponzi scheming in the pre-order side of the sneaker world, and you were just taking on way more orders than you were actually fulfilling, and then repurposing the money for the next thing you were going to do, rather than continuing to wipe your slate clean for every pre-order and then keep going back at zero. You were just stacking the difference and then rolling into the next thing and then coming up with all these excuses. So, what I want to say is, so much of that we've talked about on this podcast. We've given you that clarity over popularity. We've given you the details on our culture, the sneaker culture, how it's evolved. And there's a running theme where we're talking about how much control you have over the fate of where this culture is going. And we're talk about selling souls. Okay. That's what this is in every sense of the word. Okay. And I say this because when we have so much tied into this, we know that Trump, he needs money. He needs money right now. Okay. He's trying to go for another re-election. Not to say that you can get all your money through this, you know what I mean? But it's just another thing, right? So congratulations, sheep. You have been targeted to take your money so that he can do whatever he wants with it. And he strategically came over to this culture because of all of the money that we keep throwing in the air. And he wants a part of it. And now some of it, that $400 shoe is sold out and is reselling for $4,000-$5,000 on eBay. Did anyone read the fine print? All right. That shoe is a pre-order. It won't even begin to get produced and begin to ship until like August of 2024. And shout out to Sneaker Legal if anyone follows and looks at Sneaker Legal or whatever, because they already broke down like all the fine print and stuff like that. So let's give you a quick recap. All right. The production cycle on when you'll get it. If you go to the website, you'll see that main shoe, and there's another shoe that's like $200 or whatever it is, 200 or 300. Those shoes, the disclaimer under the picture, it says these pictures are for promotional use only. Okay? It says that they reserve the right to change the shoe, change the color, change the materials. It could be 100% different shoe that shows up in the mail. And do you know that they're legally covered? They don't have to give you what you saw in the picture, people. Okay? So, again, I don't know how you going to resell something that you don't have today. Unless you got one of the ones that he actually signed at SneakerCon and took pictures in front of the flag or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't think. I don't know how you reselling something. How eBay? How do you allow that? StockX. How do you allow that sale to go through, knowing that it won't ever get fulfilled until 6 months from now? You're part of the problem too, because you keep allowing this stuff. You know what I mean? So just pointing out that the sheep are totally sheep in here, and I blame the culture for continuing to sell out. You know what I mean? Like, y'all let him come, okay? If you watch the videos, you see him talking. There's some booze, but he was welcome there. You know what I mean? Like, they're not, and it's not about politics over here. We're nonpartisan as it pertains to those type of topics. I'm just saying, y'all know that he's not here for you and your sneakers. He's here for your money and your attention, and that's it. And you're cool with that? As much as it is to sell a sponsorship here or there, but SneakerCon and like, I'm just wondering, because he actually thanked the founders through his speech. And if you've been a part of SneakerCon, you know exactly who they are. If you have actually been a part of it, you know who the founders are, because they are very visible in their communications and their setup, and they're very organized. Really good dudes, you know what I'm saying? But that just threw me for a rocker, because I just felt like those were the last people I would associate doing business with Trump, because of what's your heritage and where you came from and everything like that, where I'm just like, that he's not here for you, but maybe it was just a money grab all the way. So I don't know how much money they spent for him to even be there, you know what I mean? Because it wasn't free to get all that security and then make people line up all extra and only go through, even more strict entrance rules and everything, knowing that these sections had to be divvied up and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, I'm sitting here like, how in the world did y'all let this guy into this side of the culture? I blame the culture. You guys, where's the honor and integrity? We said that in like the second episode that we ever did. You know what I mean? And this is proof that the sheep are sheeping and there's less honor and integrity to preserve. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? So I'll let you have some commentary. OG, this one was just like, what just happened?
I'm still kind of speechless, Shark, because I'm wondering, is there any sacredcy left in our hobby or in our culture? No one's getting sideswiped. No one is getting bamboozled here. Again, I want to reemphasize that we are bipartisan. We're not racist. We're not prejudiced. We're talking about just the culture of us in this hobby, in the sneaker game. And there's no quote unquote gateway and so forth. But there was a time, a long time, our foundation was kind of being gated to where these things would happen, because we knew what the intention was. And if we weren't giving back to the community or one of our communities, everything now was all about the money and the powers that be, that can shut this thing down. I'm not saying that they have less integrity or less character, but at this point in time, money talks. And we're at a point now in this game in which, like you said, Shark, for him not to get totally booed out of the building because he's not a part of the culture, you know what he's there for. And everyone is saying, okay, fine, cool. I got a problem with that. And it's just very, very disheartening to me because, like you just said, where do we go from here? And Trump knows once everything is done, everything is done. The timing of this wasn't just something that said, hey, no, he has his people, he has a brand, he has his strategic, everything is about the timing of everything with politics and everything else. And I'm just concerned about us getting into rams for likes, for attention, and it's not helping our community or our culture at all. And actually, it's making us look like some doggone fools, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I just, I'm not saying I lost respect for SneakerCon. I understand it's business, but I'm just wondering how much did they do the EPMD crossover for this to happen? And how did they benefit? And how do they think this is going to prolong them outside of this very temporary attention? And now all attention is good attention, but
Yeah.
this is not good for the hobby, man. It's just not.
Mm-mm. And then there's a couple other details with this, facade that's in front of us. You got to read through the details, right? So, like, if you go into the details of like who's owning the operation here, because it's like TrumpSneakers.com. I don't even know what it is, but then it's just like Trump Sneakers LLC. It's like, from the research that I did, it's like three different LLCs on top of each other, but only one of them you can actually find the actual registration for the LLC. So it's just like, what's up with these shells and things that are going on here, And then it's just like, well, Trump Sneakers LLC isn't Trump, okay? But since Trump owns the name Trump, Trump Sneakers has the rights to use the Trump name for the sneakers, and so it's all these loop-de-loop disclaimers, and I was just like, wow, y'all trying really hard to protect yourself, you know what I'm saying, from every misconception here. But if you just invested in the substance of it, like, you don't have to do all of that. You
There
can
you
just
go.
have the basic legalities and they'll cover everything, because it's, when you got all that going on, that's like the trickeration is in the air. You know what I'm saying? So, so I just wanted to point that out too, of some of the redundancy that doesn't exist, that you should be able to do that. You see different sites and things like that, and you want to find that Better Business Bureau badge at the bottom of the page, or those payment options. Like, those are the things that you need to see. And then when you start tracing some of these, because we're already in a culture, all these shells, like, think about all the advertisements you'll get on Instagram or Facebook, and then you actually go to the page, and then you go to something that's a different name that's selling the same product or furniture or whatever, and then it's just like, this website looks exactly like this other website. That actually happened to me recently, where I was looking at some stuff, and then 3 days later, I went to the site, and it was a totally different name of the .com, and I was just like, see, this is why I didn't buy from here. You know what I'm saying? Because I was just following some stuff that was targeted towards me, and I started looking at it, and then I was like, oh, I was interested, and then I bookmarked it. A little bit later, I went back, I was like, it changed, huh? Because they've been doing that in the sneaker world too. So anyway, back to the meat and potatoes of this conversation, because we're not going to go down this big rabbit hole here. We just want to make sure that we address it, and then kind of move on, because we really want to just give more call to actions to going backward in some of our episodes, and really just learning more about why our culture and why we're fighting so hard to preserve it, why we're trying to give you clarity over popularity, give you that sneaker business talk, because it's so many layers are getting lost in translation, and people, it's the honor and integrity here, you know what I mean? Because I'm questioning how much you got it, but how much is it worth? You know what I mean? Because it's, oh my goodness, I'm just gonna keep saying this: the selling of our souls, just because at the end of the day, um, the gatekeeping is gone, and we're talking about what it is to be a part of today's culture. And sometimes I just wonder, like, what do y'all like about it today? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is there to like? It looks like music at this point, as how it got watered down. And what we're proving, just like music, and we're giving those parallels of the old A&Rs, developing artists. They don't have that anymore. The artist is supposed to be out the box. Well, it's the same thing. It's the hype machines, the influencers. The companies aren't putting together these massive grassroots campaigns. They want influencers to just take advantage of their reach. So if an influencer has a piece of their audience, that's all they care about. They don't want the person that's one to one anymore, that's 10 toes down in the culture. They don't even care. And thanks to the sheep, you made it so that they don't care. You know what I mean? Because you told them, I don't care about this stuff. You don't even care about the athletes wearing it on the court anymore, let alone you just want whatever resale value, and that's subjective anyway. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I just really think that that's, the sheep are sheeping, and we just want to just, let's tool up with some more knowledge and understanding and actual caring for this culture, because someone else is going to come in and do the same thing and then tax you even more, and then we're going to complain about stuff, this, that, and the third. But mm-mm, we got here because of what the culture did or didn't do, and you're not preserving it, and we need to just do a better job. You know what I mean? Like, everything isn't for sale in the
Woo!
culture, or is it? You know what I
That
mean?
again.
Because what would be left if you sold it all? You know what I
Right.
mean? Because now all the people that sold it, and then guess what else is proving? It's proving some stuff that we've talked about, a part of our journey, and all the hurdles of the people in charge weren't part of the culture. They just had jobs. You know what I mean? And then it was people like us trying to climb the corporate ladders and get into these things. And it's 10 times harder for us because we're a threat. We actually know what we're talking about, and we don't have the egos that these other people have that want to stay there. So this is also the results of the wrong people being in charge. They don't allow the people that's part of the culture to get in and work and then be the part of the next generation. It's the equivalent of an athlete becoming a coach. This culture does not allow for the people who were a part of it to be in charge of it right now. And we're not going in that direction. You know what I mean? So these are the results. You got people selling out because they were never sold in on the culture, on being a part of the culture. They just sat over top of it, and you allowed them to do it. And they were watching it, and they made the moves.
Man,
And now they're making money while you still trying to resell some stuff. You know
there
what
you
I
go.
mean?
There you go.
SneakerCon then lost its vibe. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna need that security. You can't go to the cities. You done did the cities so much that it's just like, now what is different about SneakerCon? You're not bringing in a bigger demographic. That's why you got to keep bringing in random celebrities and doing all other type of stuff. Because now it comes in the bells and whistles, the meat and potatoes. But if you, again, some commercialization, but you had guests in the past. But when it was cultural, it was underground, you just let the word of mouth happen, and a couple, real influencers where it was like only one or two. You know what I'm saying? Not everyone's an influencer, you know what I'm saying? Or trying to be an influencer. You got people entering the world of influencing of sneakers just to be an influencer, not to actually be a part of sneakers.
There you go.
That's where it's at. That's what Trump just did to everybody. He just walked in being like, oh, y'all spending money over here? Well, I got a product to sell to you. That's it. That's just what happened. That's capitalism at its best.
And it's also capitalizing off of our stupidity and kind of mocking us.
That's the
So when
point.
someone calls me a sneakerhead now, it means a
I'm
whole lot
offended.
less
Yeah.
after this event. And again, being bipartisan and so forth, but there was some way down the road where you had to connect it somehow, whether you were an athlete, whether you're a musician. At least say something about. We never even seen Trump in sneakers in a suit at anything. You know what I mean? So it's like, what is he connected even beforehand to kind of show something? But I give Trump credit, Shark, because you know what he stands for. You know what he is about. And like I said, there was no bamboozling whatsoever. And someone said, just come on in. Why? Because if I don't let you in, someone else would. And that's where you talk about where you have to have the integrity to be like, no, no, thank you. That other entity that probably has copied off of us, have probably carbon copied us, they can have you because we can't. I just, it's a tough line, man,
Yeah.
because,
So I'll say two things before we wrap up. One
yep,
is it feels like y'all are giving him a pass for his previous life. We remember before he was president and all this politics and stuff, Trump was a different person for like hip hop.
no question.
He was someone that was just like, that was the adjective, like Trump is a hustler, Trump is a this, and Trump is a that. You know what I mean? And it's just like,
The last song I
you
remember
can't
was,
allow him to come back into any parts of these cultures. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
the
Like,
last song I remember was Ray Sherman, Up Like Trump. That was the last song I remember that actually was
look,
popular
so
at Memphis.
many references. How many times is he in a commercial or on the Fresh Prince or all these episodes of black culture? You know what I'm saying? In sitcoms, commercials, Nike commercials, and stuff. Like he's been in them all. You know what I'm saying? So no, you don't get to go revisit that part of life again. You know what I'm saying? And other thing I'll say about, you know, as attending SneakerCon, one of the reasons I stopped going because the age demographic kept getting younger and younger and younger, and all these young people just getting dropped off by their parents, you know, with pockets full of cash and stuff, and they don't know how to negotiate or do anything. I just don't understand how that was the audience for Trump. Your parents, y'all drop your kids off to go to the
To a sneaker Trump rally.
mm-mm, mm-mm. We told y'all that we was talking to you two parents so that you could educate yourself and put your kids in the best position to be successful and learn how to make something of this. You know what I'm saying? For longevity. But mm-mm, nope. Shame, shame, shame on you guys. You know what I mean? So put this episode on repeat, and then go backwards, and check out some of our other episodes just talking about honor, integrity, you know, the production cycle of why you should be warned about all these disclaimers, and how long stuff is going to take, you know, all the legal issues that we've discussed in the past with multiple people and multiple brands. They're going to apply here. At some point in time, our best bet is actually like a designer brand saying that their sole or midsole is too similar. Someone like a Louis Vuitton or probably Louis Vuitton's the best, but not holding my breath because you're not an American brand, so you don't care about this stuff over here. You know what I mean? So, you know, at the end of the day, it, it, it's to the culture to solve this problem and close the dang doors, you know, and stop letting the hot air in. You know what I mean? Or in our case, don't let my air out. You know what I'm saying? Because that's where the culture started. You know what I mean? In that essence of that's a cultural reference for y'all that don't know. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, so I think that's why I'll end it with the commentary from my side, just because I can keep going. But I really want to just get that call to action for everyone to educate themselves, understand more how we got here, and you know, it was just you put a welcome sign on this. You let him come in, and then you cast a check, and that's not a good sign for where the culture needs to go and evolve to.
In closing, Shark, I'll keep it simple. Something that we grew up on, a statement. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
There you go. There
Prime
you go.
example.
So, you know, we normally give you lighthearted topics, but this one we just had to get serious. And because this is like reality check, people, wake up. All right. So, you know, this is definitely some clarity over popularity. Some real sneaker business talk from the Soul Material Podcast. So, till next time, friends, it's T Martin Street Star signing off.
And your man, OGEO, peace to you.
Peace.
Sneaker Business Talk. It's the Soul Material Podcast.